GMO, genetic modified organisms. I see, in my life, I've never seen a particular topic that have caused problem like this topic.
Aproko doctor is a very manipulative person. I just confirmed it.
Any of the doctors that say those things, they don't even have a clue. They have no idea.
Greetings to you, my dearest family. Welcome again to Direct TV, bringing to you the truth with Joshua and my dearest family. So I'm here with this video because Aproko doctors, for those of you that know him, he actually came out to say one or two about GMO food, and it was just going on and on. We are going to dive into this video very well, but I want us to start from his video, what he said, and then we'll move over to some of the warning the manual Pastor Chris has given on this. So kindly watch this. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe.
But now, when we say genetic modification, some of us think that genetic modification actually started in 2024, 2025. It's not true. Genetic modification has been there since the days of our forefathers. So your forefathers been doing genetic modification. Yes, I said it. It's just that they did not have lab. It was not accurate. There was no magnifying glass for them to test this thing. For example, if your forefather was a farmer and he found that this particular plant have big seeds, and I want to have big seeds the next season, your father does something, or your forefather does something where, selective breeding, in case that plant, make sure he plants only it alone so that they can give him more bigger crops next season. Your forefathers have been doing it. And it might shock you, but there are certain plants that if you see it today, that is not what it was in the beginning. For example, corn. Yes, the corn that you see now is not the corn that was in the beginning. The corn that you are seeing now was actually gotten from a wild grass known as teosinte. Yes, so this is corn. This one you're looking at is a modified corn by your forefathers. Another example of traditional genetic modification is anything from the cabbage family. Broccoli, cauliflower, kale, they were all gone by selective breeding. Yes. Another thing that was done by traditional genetic modification are the current apples that you're seeing now. The current apples that you're seeing now, shall just know that your forefathers genetically modified it. The one you're seeing now is not the one that used to be before. Another one is dog. Yes, woof, woof, bingo. Bingo did not occur in the wild before. It was human beings that selectively bred wolves and then they gave birth to bingo, because these things don't occur in the wild. Now, when we say modification, it just means, there are certain genes that I want more than other genes. So I find my way or interfere in the process that occurs naturally so that I can get that gene more. Is GMO affecting our local farmers? So what that simply means is that if you plant the modified seeds in a place where you have local seeds or very close to local seeds, cross-pollination can happen. It's either wind will carry the reproductive parts of that plant, or insects will go to this place, fly to the other place, and before you know what's happening, cross-pollination can happen here. And if this modified seed is more dominant, it can overshadow the local seeds so that the local seeds can no longer germinate after a while. So that means that local farmer no longer has a choice. If this particular modified seed are the sterile ones, it means that after a while, his seeds might not be able to grow anymore. You have taken that choice away from that local farmer. So yes, it can affect local farming. However, there are other upsides to the genetically modified plants. For example, there are certain areas where you don't have enough rain. Everywhere is always dry. Some of these modified seeds have been genetically modified in such a way that it can grow in those very harsh areas. Another reason why there's also genetically modification in some of these things is pests. How many of you remember when if you buy beans, there's always carbide inside? That's one of the reasons why they now say, okay, rather than using carbide, let us modify these organisms in such a way that it is resistant to this particular insect, so that this insect can no longer survive where this plant is. It is also done to increase plant yield. In other words, more plants, more production, more harvest for the farmer, more food for everybody, and that's one of the pros. Remember, like I said, we're not doing conspiracy here. It is pros, cons, good, bad, and the ugly, so that you can make your own decision. One of the solutions is that the government can designate areas in which these modified seeds can be planted. That is far away from any local seeds, so that the chances of cross-pollination are very little, giving local farmers a chance. Because some of them have not understood this new technology, and it's only fair that you give them the opportunity to decide what they want to do. This GMO thing that we're talking about now has actually been around since the 1990s. And scientists have been tracking it on and off the farm. So this is not the first time GMO is out. So those of you that are shouting, oh, this is something that is just recent because it's the year 2000, it's not true. Since 1990s, the one in the lab have been sold to consumers. Another concern about these GMO seeds is that a lot of the GMO seeds that are currently in circulation are actually controlled by a few companies. And these companies can decide what they want to do with it. They can say, I'm not selling to the farmers anymore. Some of them can even decide some of the prices that they are selling to these farmers. Some of them can even decide who they are selling to. Some of them have locked their IP and their patents in such a way that sometimes even the farmers are meant to sign contracts to decide whether they continue buying their seed or they use their normal seeds. There is also the concern that some of these modified seeds can actually go into a particular area and actually overshadow the local plants that are already occurring in that particular area, removing biodiversity from the particular topic. Some people are going around saying that GMO seeds, there's plenty chemical inside. Let's say the truth and shame the devil. When you want to make GMO, you carry the DNA. DNA is like I say, it's like code, small code that determines, for example, the color of your eye, the shape of your fingers. They carry that particular tiny code. The small, they go inside, find it. And then they find a cell of a particular plant and then put the DNA inside that cell. Then they will not grow that particular cell that they just put inside the tissue culture, and then this tissue starts to grow. By the time it has now grown, the seed from this one that has now grown is now the genetically modified seed. So as you can see, you have DNA, you have cell, you have plant, you have seeds. Harmful chemical is inside. I don't know where people are getting this thing from. I also think that another people that have caused damage to this particular conversation are the people that are not experts on this issue. So everybody is just opening their mouth to be church-or-choing about it. Even me, I'm not an agricultural expert, but I'm trying my best to explain it to the barest minimum so that all of us can be informed. When you're making a decision, you know the decision that you're making, and you're not just flying around with broadcasts that another person just forwarded to you. Which now leads me to the next question. Can GMO wipe out the human population? Like I said very few ago, if you did not skip it, is that GMOs have actually been introduced since the 1990s. That's how many years ago? Almost 30 something years ago. That's when it has been introduced. So if they are wiping out, almost all of us will not be alive by now. You also need to understand that you need to have a balanced view on some of these topics. Yes, we understand that there are concerns. We understand that there are benefits. We also understand that there are ugly parts. Your job as an adult is to understand all these three parts so that you can make an informed decision for yourself. Not just running around. They say DNA has chemical inside. They say it's going to wipe out the population. I even saw one that they said the DNA is supposed to control our mind. How? How? GMO are controlling population? I don't see it. And now say GMO is causing cancer. There is no scientific study as of today that has linked GMO to cancer. Like I said, it is fairly recent. There are still studies that are going on. And when these studies come out fully, of course, we will use the scientific study to actually share some of this information to the public so that changes can be made. That's how science is done.
Alright, my dearest family, there you have it. So you heard so many of the things he has said. But before we move to the one from the man of God, Pastor Chris, because all he's saying, I've been listening to him. All right, and I would like you to share with me what you think in the comment section after watching all this video, or listen to this guy on what he said about him after he made this video. Watch this.
Aproko doctor is a very manipulative person. I just confirmed this. I just coming back from the video he posted on YouTube because people have been dragging him about the GMO, and everything he did there was just manipulation. And I will tell you what these people do because I've studied them. I know all of them. Now, this is what they call manipulative under specification. I've forgotten the philosopher that actually came about with this idea. It's just a way of somebody, yeah, you don't want to lie, but you can be slippery. You can be slippery, bringing a whole lot of ambiguity, and you're not specific because your intent is to manipulate people. Because tomorrow, they might even come and ask you and you deny because you are leaving people to infer their own meaning into what you're doing. You're not really saying, you're not specific. That's what he did there. First, he started with doing the heavy lifting by telling you that he's not here for conspiracy theory. So he's already called us conspiracy theory, so that he's already telling you not to listen to us, but he's one who's coming to tell you the fact. Now, he made it long, a bit more like what crypto people do. When you ask them, why are they so passionate about trying to help people to make money? Crypto people will not be specific. They will not give you any straight answer. They will make it, first of all, they'll make it ambiguous and make it very long talk. The reason why they make it very long talk is because they want to drag it on until you are tired. When you are tired and you lose focus, that is when they will now sell their propaganda. Now, he made it very long just to sell his propaganda at the end of the video. That's just it. He did not specify, because the question is, where do you stand on this GMO? He did not specify. First, he mentioned that yes, it can overshadow our own local agriculture and blah, blah, blah. And also he admitted that a few corporations are in charge of this. So we have to rely on them. So how come you want us to rely on people like Bill Gates? Like, you don't want us to have sovereignty over what we cultivate and eat in this country. He mentioned that GMO can help if there are dry lands, it can actually germinate there. Like, are you for real? Does Nigeria have the issue of non-fertile lands? No, we don't. Our lands are fertile. We don't have any issue about that. Our main issue is insecurity. If herdsmen allow farmers, they go to farm. We don't need GMO now. When did we ever, as a country, complain about that our lands are not fertile? So you want GMO that's controlled by entities that are not us, just because you can grow them on dry lands. He went on and dragged for over 15 minutes, and he didn't. He wasn't specific. Where do you stand on this GMO issue? What is Bill Gates' relationship with this particular GMO? What does Bill Gates want? And what is your relationship with Bill Gates? These are the questions. He answered none of them. None of them. It wasn't specific. He dragged it so that you'll be tired. Then he'll sell you. He showed the agenda at the end of the video, because he was not telling government, if you want to talk to these people, come down to the language that they understand. He's indirectly telling the government and even the authorities to rely on people like them more to educate the public, which means government, you see down a propaganda, bring and give us. We know how to sell it. These guys are manipulative. I've just confirmed it.
There you have it, my dearest family. Like I said, a long talk on this, because those of you that have been following what the man of God, Pastor Chris, have said, you need to listen to him again, because these guys, oh my goodness. The moment I saw his picture with Bill Gates, I said something is wrong. But I'd like you to tell me what you think about the video. Listen to the man of God too. A lot of videos from the man of God on this, but I'll just bring these few ones to you, because he has addressed most part of whatever he said in his video. Don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe. Watch this, guys. And mind you, I'm going to be breaking some part and writing it as text, because I know these guys might come after this video, but I want to actually make you guys be aware of what's going on. That's why I'm doing this. All right, so I'm going to break some part and put it as text. So be patient, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe once again.
Glory be to God. Now, remember, one of the reasons that you are informed of truth is to walk in it. To walk in the truth. For example, when we talk about these GMO foods and so on and so forth, as much as you can, reject them. And here's why. Not because you yourself might be at risk when you get to know God's word. You may not be at risk. In fact, you will not be at risk when you know the word. But there are others whose faith is not as developed as yours. And as long as you're patronizing those GMO foods, you are encouraging the production and distribution of the same. And therefore, who are either ignorant or have no much faith like you. Those who are just growing, those who don't know. So you have to put pressure on those who are producing them and marketing them and distributing them by rejecting them. That is a righteous action from you. That's what you have to do. And once you are decided like that, you will have the options. You will have the alternatives, and God will give you wisdom and ideas. We have to send a strong message to the inventors of evil things. We have to send a strong message. So a lot of these products that are not good and intended for damage must be torn down, must be rejected. I brought you information some time ago on toothpaste with fluoride and how dangerous. But most of the toothpaste in the market are advertised even with fluoride. They give you the impression that if you have fluoride in it, then that's the right toothpaste, that's the best ones. And many have gone in the shops looking for toothpaste with fluoride because that's how they advertise it on TV. But they never told you that fluoride was. They never told you. They never told you that if you digest or ingest sufficient fluoride, it will lead. They never told you. But the packaging of the toothpaste has a warning in small prints telling you that if you happen to ingest a lot of it, you got to go to the poison department of the closest health center. But they never advertise that to you. But I escalated that information to you. This will tell you why a lot of people, after many years, they lied to you when they told you that when you get to be 50 years old, 55, 60, 68, that you will come up with certain kind of sicknesses. Do you know how they knew? I want to tell you, not because of age. They knew that if you continued taking certain things that they were giving you, if you were taking them over a period of time, at a certain point in your life, by the time you're 40, they know the sickness you will have. By the time you're 50, they know the sickness you will have. By the time you're 60, they know the sickness you will have. All these things were programmed because they knew what they sold to you. And then they lied to you that when you get to this age, this kind of a thing will happen to you. Many of the doctors that say those things, they don't even have a clue. They have no idea. They just read it in school. But they never knew it had to do with the. It's in the terrible you've been drinking. It's in the beverages you've been drinking. You never knew. So that's how they knew what sickness you will have by the time you're 58. So if you're still thinking, what led to your mom having cancer at such an age? What led to your dad having stroke at such a time? It's these things. Then they now tell us, the average life expectancy in a country. How do they know? They know because of the food they sent there. They know because of the programming. They've done it for 35 years. So they know that in that country, life expectancy for the men will be 60. In fact, in some of them, 45. You heard it. What Henry Kissinger recommended. Part of it was war to help eliminate the young men in several countries because they wanted. war, hunger, food. Food scarcity, that is. How true God's word says. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is subject to the lender. So when you're asking for money from World Bank and IMF, and then they tell you there are some things you must do, you think they are joking? And those things they tell you to cut down. And then they said, including, you say, how are we going to sterilize our people? They say, we'll help you. They know how to do it. It's going to come. By the time that kid grows to be 25, then everybody's praying. They don't know why. Then they gave them. The guys are staying. All over Africa, young people are having more difficulty in giving birth. All this was programmed years ago. And they want to do worse now. But we found out, and of course they don't like me to tell you the truth. I got to tell you the truth. I was sent from God, not man, to tell you the truth. Tell you the truth. So you got to take actions by rejecting those things. Look at all the beautiful cereals, the cornflakes. Did you know? These things are supposed to be nice things. Well, we can do better ones. We can do better ones, my brothers and sisters. Listen, this is creating an opportunity for new products. An opportunity for new products. Since I talked about the toothpaste with fluoride, people are not buying the fluoride toothpaste anymore. Yes, they're buying the ones with no fluoride. Yes, see it? So same thing. Dump those products and produce new ones. And God gives the ideas. Replace their wicked products. Reject them. Don't accept them anymore. It's time to respond. It's time to respond. So now you're getting to understand Planned Parenthood and environmentalism and what they really mean. So they never cared about the environment one bit. It was all about from A to Z. That's what it was all about. Social hygiene. What a nice name. Social hygiene. But social hygiene really means and they decide who are bad people. Yes, sir. So that's why we showed you that documentary on eugenics. Give attention to these messages and give attention. Give attention. Give attention. I'm sure there are many of you who don't have an idea organic corn, what it is. Don't think of the one you've been buying in the market, in your local market, I mean, don't think that that one is really organic. Most countries don't have the original corn anymore. It's one of the earliest genetically modified crops. So most of what you've been eating was modified a long time ago. And this is one major cause of among so many people in African countries. I know you heard in that video that the highest consumers of corn are the United States and China. What you didn't hear was what kind of consumption. They don't consume it as much as those in Africa, as per digesting it into your system. They use it for a whole lot of other things and export a lot of those products to Africa. So when they say they consume, they're not eating them like you are eating them. And that's why you've got to do something. You have to think again. And the earlier you stop it, the better. Because no one is giving you this information. They're not telling you that the unexplained hypertension that your grandfather suffered with, that your father suffered with, that your granduncle suffered with, and that you are probably suffering with, has something to do with corn. Almost all the people that I've known that had high blood pressure, they all love corn. All of them, they love corn and corn products. But nobody ever told them that had anything to do with the problems. Nobody told them. Now we're digging out stuff and sharing with you. And there's a whole lot of people, well, there are not many, there are few people who don't like this. They don't like us telling you this because they are the monsters of remorseless cruelty.